Good evening, Piyush sir. Piyush sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, Sagar, you're audible.
Yeah. Our speaker, Mr. Piyush Sandhane is here. I guess he's checking with this mic, I guess.
Yes, I'm here. Can everyone hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir, it's pretty clear. Good evening, sir.
Good
And
evening. Good evening.
On the welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah. So it's, I guess, 6 o'clock. The students are joining because Saturday evening, and they are also coming up from the internships. So they will be joining us. So, Garima ma'am, should we start? Because students will join. Just to introduce, Garima Sharma ma'am is there. She is the Associate Dean for IIC. IIC is handled by Minister of Education, and we do innovation activities. So ma'am is taking care of ARIA ranking as well as IIC. Along with us, Vengankar is there.
Yeah. So I think we can start. Students will join in any moment now.
Yeah. Sure.
Right?
Yes, ma'am. Welcome, Amay. You know Amay very well, sir.
Yes. Hi, Amay.
He is our champ for Innovation Lab. So, welcome, Amay. Let's start with the session. Good evening.
Okay, I just have to ask you a little bit. Is every participant going to be visible to me on the window?
Webinar format. So the participants can ask the question in the chat box or Q&A box. They will ask the question Q&A box. If they have any doubt, they can raise the hand and we can unmute them and they can talk with us. The students raises the hand, then they can get the access.
Okay, because I'm trying to do something different as it is an innovation lab. So I was just thinking that if I could, kind of engage them in some other way and I can see them in some way.
Okay.
Great, but
if they have doubt, they can just engage with us by raising the hand. We can bring them on this platform as a panelist. But just this is a webinar, so the panelists will be here. You, me, and Amay and Garima ma'am will be there. Students can ask the questions on the chat box or Q&A box. We can have an interaction. Yesterday we had an interaction through chat only, through the chat box. They interacted with the speaker, and all the questions were solved, and everything was.
I'm okay with the questions part of it. I just wanted them to do something right there while they're sitting at the laptop or the computer. That's what I was thinking. If I could, kind of engage them with that way. Cool, great. We'll try something. We'll try and use reactions out here.
Sure. Okay.
Sir, and we have informed students to carry the notepad and pen. So for the
all right,
we have already...
yeah, but I'll be able to understand whether they're doing it or not, right? You know that, right? Cool. We'll try something. We'll do something. Yeah.
Sure. So, good evening, one and all. We are pleased to welcome you all for today's session on innovating brand strategy for business. Brand innovation is an essential component of corporate strategy. Through strategic planning, brand innovation helps businesses to implement new marketing projects. Even in the best of times, the relationship between branding and innovation can be tricky. In theory, they work together, with brand strategy providing the face of business's growth strategy and can help companies bring innovation to the market. In the world of abundant choice, the purpose of branding is to guide consumers at midst of design array of alternatives. Brand power and influence are much more difficult to obtain in this era of empowered consumerism. True innovation can be the most powerful differentiator, which can create unique value by satisfying the consumer needs in a competitive way cannot. Balancing the need for brand focus with the need for innovation is the essence of dilemma. And we might facing like which comes first, brand or innovation? Our today's expert speaker, Mr. Piyush Sandhane, will surely help us with this dilemma, as he helps businesses and individuals build meaningful brand. He is expert to transferring his diversified knowledge to youngsters. He is a creative consultant, brand coach, career mentor to many. He has authored a book, The Employability Question Decoded, which is an outcome of all these initiatives by the curious learner and an individual who is not scared to experiment. His mission and philosophy is, if you have a dream, let us dare to employ it and create the intended reality. We are so glad, sir, that you are here today to share your insights and experience with us. Over to you, sir. But before sir begins, I request you all submit the text questions in the Q&A box. And if there's an interaction, let put in a chat box or raise your hand so that we can interact personally. So over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sagar, and thank you all the panelists uh, who have come here, given their time, and all the participants who are watching me from wherever you are. I know you are keen learners, and that's why you're here on a Saturday evening. And I wish and I will work towards making it a worthwhile session. Uh, but before I begin, Sagar was saying something about branding, innovation, and what comes first. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something different. And this is where all of you who are watching this webinar style workshop, I will call it a workshop because I'm going to make you do something. Okay, we'll try and do something different today, even on this remote small little window. Why? Because when you speak about innovation, when you speak about anything to do with new things, the first thing that comes into my mind is how are we going to do a small little experiment to start something new. Okay, so I hope you guys are with me. Be interactive as possible. I might ask you a question. Anyone can raise their hand and they can be unmuted, sir, so that they can ask a question in real time. The more the questions, I'll be happy to answer them to you all. If I could do it while the session is going on, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll take it at the end of this session. Okay. So panelists, I can only see you. So if there is an activity that I'm trying to get it done, please get involved. Please do it so that we can show some results on the screen itself. Okay. And I'm hoping that each one on this webinar, on this session, is going to be taking part with me. All right, let me just share my screen right now. Good to start, good to begin. All right, I hope you all can see my screen. Okay. So as Samir introduced, I am basically a brand strategist, but I like to call myself a purpose-driven brand strategist. And I have three main pillars where I work with entrepreneurs, businesses, or any of the community, which is the business community, which is purpose, strategy, and creativity. So what I feel branding is a perfect blend of all these three things. You cannot just build a brand with only one of the component, because I always believe that when logic and magic come together, that's when a real brand is built. Okay. So today's topic for us is uh, branding, but what I'm going to add before that is on purpose branding. Okay. I'm going to talk a lot about this. This is a broadcast style kind of a session. So I might have slight limitations because I'm a guy who likes to interact a lot. Amay knows that. But what we are going to do today is, before we go ahead with anything, as I said, and as I promised, that we all are going to do something different today. I hope everyone is ready with their notepads and pens. Okay. I hope everyone is ready. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a small little activity where everyone gets involved for the time that is we're going to spend further, and we're going to understand, or we're going to kickstart this on purpose branding topic by doing something, by understanding something, and by realizing something. Okay, so I don't know what that something is. You need to tell me what it is, and we'll go ahead with it. Everyone is ready, guys? Everyone is ready? Okay, so the activity is very simple. Okay, listen to the rules very carefully. Okay, I am going to give you 1 minute time to do this activity. Okay, you have 1 minute time to do this activity, where I'm sure each one of you has done drawing at least in their school. So I want you to today do some kind of drawing for yourself and for us, or for me. Okay, now you might say, oh, what is this drawing all about? Don't worry, you guys have done this drawing in school time at least once in lifetime. Okay. The topic for today's drawing activity is very simple. It's the scenery, nature drawing. Okay. I know it is very simple. I know you might have a small giggle right now. Okay. This is interesting. But if you've done this recently, it will be great. But if you've not done it recently, it's a good time to revisit your school. Okay. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to draw, doodle, scribble, take your pen and draw a scenery for me and for others. Now, the scenery is simple. It's the nature's drawing. We all have done it in school. But the catch here is you just have 1 minute to fill up that sheet of yours. Okay. I'm going to time you now. One on the when I say go, your 1 minute starts. All right. So 3, 2, 1, go ahead. Your 1 minute has started. All the panelists, please, you can also participate in this because I cannot see more people, and I'm kind of handicapped in that. So your time has started right now. Go ahead, draw a scenery or a nature's drawing in less than a minute. Okay, be creative, add as many elements as you can, but remember, you have 1 minute. I'm timing you here. I hope everyone is doing it. Guys, I cannot see you, but I'm hoping and I am confident that each one of you is getting something on that paper. That is the topic that for today is scenery or nature's drawing. Great. Now, let's say 35 seconds gone. Come on, guys. Put as many elements as possible because this gets interesting. Be participative in this because you're going to get some revelation here. Last 10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, pens down, everyone. Pens down. Okay. I'm trusting you guys. Stop your drawing right away and just listen to me now. Okay. All right. So now you guys have done something on your paper, right? Something or the other on your paper. Before I go ahead and we discuss on that, I want to ask you a few questions. Okay. Tell me, guys, did we all go to the same school? Okay, you can, Sagar, you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down so that I can get a common answer. No, we didn't go to the same school, right? We didn't have the same teachers. We don't have the same friends. We don't stay in the same locality. We don't have the same kind of food. We don't have same kind of environment. Okay, so if we don't have the same of anything, and you guys have done something right away, tell me how many of you, when I said 3, 2, 1, started doing this. That's the triangle shaped mountains. Okay. So the first thing that comes is, let's do the mountains triangle shape. Yes, yes, yes. Great, great. Give me answers on the chat box. That's nice. That's nice. Awesome. Someone says no. That's awesome. Okay. How many of you did this? The sun. This can be the pizza shaped sun or a rounded sun. Tell me, guys, how many of you are in the daytime and how many of you have done a moon in the nighttime? Majority of you might have done the day. How many of you did this? Clouds. Of course, it has to come, right? It's a scenery. Yes, clouds. Yes. Okay, great. Okay, how many of you did birds, which are small letter R? Okay, these are small letter R birds, and as they come down, that same small letter R becomes grass. How many of you did that? Someone says no clouds or birds. Great. Awesome. I would like to see your work at the end. All right, let's go ahead. Next thing, main thing. How many did this? A river that starts from the edge of the mountain to the edge of your notepad. It so river is a must, right? If there's a scenery, river is a must. Come on, let me see more yeses or nos on the chat box. Great, 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 great. How many of you did this boat? How many had the time to add a boat to the river? How many of you did this a well? Let's go ahead. How many of you did this? The most important factor, the house. And this house is nothing like what you live in. There is this house has a thatch roof, uh, one door, two windows, and I would like to ask everyone, what is this? If you've done this, you know what? When I ask people this, they don't have an answer, and then they go like, "Oh, that's like the place for exhaust." The one-sided house. All right. Yes, someone said tree also. It's coming. The trees are coming. How many of you did the tree besides the house? A big tree besides the house and small trees here and there. Yep. Which tree was that? Someone says fish. Someone says fish. Oh my God. I mean, look at your nature drawing. You could see through the fish. I mean, through the river. Trees in the background. Yes. How many of you did this man? Which I call them stick men. They don't have clothes. They don't have expressions, but they are stick men. How many of you have done that with some action? Scarecrow. Okay, someone said scarecrow. Palm tree. Palm tree. The coconut and the palm tree, right? If this was not your scenery, I'm sure the beach was. You divide into three parts, that the sky, the sand, and then you show one tree, which was the coconut or the palm tree. Someone said cow. How many had the time to add an animal? I don't know. If it is horns, it will be a cow. Otherwise, it will be just absolutely same. Also with the stick figure in the boat. Yes, I know. I had one of the participants who did a stick figure in the car, and it was still a stick figure like this, and driving a car. So yes, a bridge, and I did a dog. Awesome. So tell me, how many of you, out there have done this kind of a nature drawing or scene or a scenery? Just put in a chat box, me, or I, or whatever you can on the chat box. Okay, how many of you have done this scenery, or how many who didn't have the notepad in front of them were thinking about this scenery, were imagining this scenery? Yes, during childhood, very often. Yes, I know that this is what is been given to us as a legacy of a drawing, the art of drawing, and I'm sure we will pass this on to our kids, saying that bhai scenery aise hi hoti hai, go ahead, do this. Yes, so I am sure everyone is closely to this or a beach scene. Okay, guys, but there is something that you need to think out here. Okay, let's take a pause from all that thing. I know you did this after a long time and you must be feeling pumped up or energized that we did something different in a session, but there is something to think about here. Okay, I want to talk to you about that. When I asked you in the beginning, did we go to the same school? Did we have the same teachers? Did we have the same friends? Did we do the same things? Did we study in the same school or college or background? You said no, 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 no. And I'm sure we all believe that we also don't have the same way of thinking, or we don't have the same brain, right? Every one of us is unique. Now, how is it possible that, while you did this in 1 minute out there, I already knew what you would draw on your paper without even seeing you, meeting you? Okay. How did I know that? And how that entire drawing was already on my presentation? Something to think about, right? I'm not expecting any answers out here because I know it will take some longer time. But here we have to think a very, very, very strong message. There's a strong message behind this. When you talk about branding, when you talk about innovation, when you talk about strategy, if this painting or this doodle was your brand or your product or even your personal brand, okay, how does one differentiate that from the others? That means there are so many like you that are there in the market. And how does one differentiate, or what would be your uniqueness? Okay, if you're the same and the other one is also the same. Now, this is a simple, thing to learn, that whenever we think about branding, whenever we think about innovation, whenever we think about combining these things together, it is not about uh, the design, it's not about the visuals, it is all about what you're thinking. Okay, branding is all about what you're thinking. That's what it says. Branding starts with your thought, and you need to expand your thought by doing things differently. I'm sure everyone here has visited some or the other, place where you saw something nice. It's like a natural beauty out there. You saw a waterfall. Maybe you saw a very quiet road with trees on both the sides, and you said, "Wow, what a scenic, situation, or what a moment!" And it stayed in your mind. But when it comes to doing, when it comes to doing, we all do the same. And that, my dear friends, is the bridge of thinking and doing. So if you do things differently, like for example, if you challenge yourself and say, this is not the nature drawing or the scenery that I'm going to do, I am going to think differently. I'm going to do something different. It may go wrong. It might not be liked by someone in the first go, or it might look something else, but I'm going to do it. That's where you start expanding your thought from wherever you've stopped thinking. This is the same principle applied in purpose driven branding. Okay. While Sagar was talking about branding and innovation, it was all about creating UVP, USP, differentiator, positioning in the market, and so many other things, right? But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to simplify certain things. It's my first interaction with you guys. I'm going to simplify it so that you can really, really start applying things wherever you are, in whatever field you're working in, or even while learning. So even if you're living a campus life, you might start learning those things. And people who are into the startup scenario, who are entrepreneurs out there, you can even start working on your brand right from today. So that's what I'm going to do in this session. Okay. So simple. I know I cannot interact with you guys, though I would have loved it. But doing things differently is the only thought that you could, kind of explore, or you kind of, look at when it comes to innovation, when it comes to creative thinking, and when it comes to something new. Okay. Something new that you kind of discover. So then what is a brand, guys? Now, I want to tell you that, boss, branding is, or a brand is not a logo, the identity, the design, the theme, the colors. It's not the product, it's not the service, but it's truly, truly the value that you provide to others. Okay, branding is, or a brand is the value that you provide to others. It is not the function; it is the promise. It is actually the promise that it's a promise that you kind of give to your target audience, and make sure that you fulfill that promise, whatever that you are doing as a brand. And most importantly, it is what people say about you. Okay. Jeff Bezos has once said, right? A brand is something where people will say when you're not in the room, or people will talk about when you're not in the room, right? So this is the definition of brand, and this is where I want you to start thinking. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are a startup guy out there, if you're working on some idea, then definitely this three things has to be incorporated while building a brand. Now, when you say innovation, I'm going to come back to that part in the later part of the session, but let me take you forward with this. Like everyone, like every story, do you guys know that the word brand also has a story? How many of you know it? Can put a yes or a thumbs up on the chat box. How many of you know the story of this word brand? How many of you know from where this name came from? What word came from? Brand. Let's decode everything today. Anyone? Anyone on the in the attendees or the panelists knows that from where the word brand came from? Use the chat box, extensively. I can see your responses out there. All right, someone said don't know. All right, okay. Let me tell you guys. The word brand is derived from the word brander. Now let me explain what a brander is in a very simple language. In the earlier times, do you know that cattle farming was the most primary occupation in the world, where there was exchange of cattle, trading of cattle, products based on animals like milk and other things, where they used to have an iron rod, and they used to heat that iron rod and put a mark on their animals of their ownership. They used to make a unique mark, heat that rod, and they used to put it on the animal. So that was a mark that they used to put on their set of animals, and that iron rod was the brander. Okay, that's the brander. So this is where the word comes from, and I'll tell you give you a small brief journey of this word also. Okay, or the process of branding. In the 1600s, it was all about ownership, as I said, where people used to do a lot of cattle farming, trading cattle-based products. So there, it was more about the ownership factor, where the brander was used to put a mark and say, this is what I own. Okay, this is mine, and that's okay, someone else's. All right. But when time evolved, products like exotic products like wine came into picture. So in the 1800s, there were wine bottles which were produced. They were put into boxes. They were sealed with another brander. So it's like a mark kind of thing, where it said if it came from this mark, it was of good quality. Okay. So in the 1800s and the early 1900s, it was all about quality, quality, quality. Okay. The next thing that came in was how we can differentiate ourselves from the others and show that we are superior than the others. In the 1900s, late 1900s, this was the trend when it came to branding, where ownership, quality, and differentiation or superiority came into picture of people saying that, oh, if this is from that brand, then it's definitely superior than the others in the competition. That because that's when competition had risen tremendously, and they used to differentiate it with the packaging, with the colors, with the style of what they would do. And now the latest trend of the 20th century and beyond is all about loyalty, long lasting relationships. So everything that comes with ownership, quality, differentiation, superiority, and today brands want to and desire to, even the new brands desire to create loyalty and long lasting relationships with their customers or consumers. I hope it was clear to you. Just give me a yes in the chat box if this is clear, what the story of branding is. Thank you so much. Great. I go forward. A lot of people ask me, Piyush, what is the difference between branding and marketing? Okay. So I like to throw some light out here with a simple example. I know not many people are going to say agree or accept this or confess this, but I'm sure we all know about dating. I'm sure you've someone or the other has already dated or trying to date someone in their college or campus or other places. So I just want to give you that example. Now, what happens when you go for a date. Okay, let's do a small rewind and look at the situation. So let me take maybe a guy as an example. So I'll take my example as a guy. So I go into college and I see uh, a girl, I get attracted to. So I like that girl, by only looking at her I feel, oh, I need to talk to that girl. And that's where she has my attention. Okay, she has my attention, and now I want to kind of start some conversation, start some interaction. What do you go and do? Now I won't, or I never did go and say that, oh, you look beautiful, I want to date you, and okay, let's go out for a date. And that's how it happened. Or you don't go and say, hey, you look beautiful, let's go on a date and let's think about some commitment. You don't do that, right? So in my times, what happened was, first we used to look at, how do I get to connect with this girl? Today you have Instagram, Facebook, and all the other things. You can kind of go and check out their profiles. But in our times, we needed to get the mobile number first. So we kind of found out who our friends were, and we went ahead, kind of asked people how that person is, what she does, where she stays, and stuff like that. So we kind of got some information. That's how we did it. And maybe we kind of get some kind of a kind of excuse to make a conversation. So we made an excuse, we did in conversation. If the conversation went well, if the first interaction went well, there was a possibility that we could build over those conversations. So we could probably meet the friends again. We kind of have the second conversation, third conversation. If everything goes good, there was a chance that we would ask that person out on a date. There was in that process also, it was some you could have got rejected, or if you were lucky, or if you were in a good match of your personality, of your thoughts, of your wavelength, of your interactions, then you get a chance to go on a date, right? And then it was all about that first date. Now imagine the same thing and use this as a principle for branding and marketing. Okay, now let's look at on a brand perspective. I always call branding as a bridge. Okay, a bridge to make the first date happen. All right. Now the first date, I call that first date as a transaction, as the first transaction, some kind of transaction. So with the girl sitting in front of me was the first transaction in the date. Before that, it was all about reasoning why that girl should go on a date with me, right? In the same way, branding becomes the reason for your target audience to engage and to kind of kind of take a decision or build a reason as to why I will have that first transaction with the brand. Okay, with the product, with the service, or whatever the small commitment is, even if it's for free, even if the brand is giving something for free, there is always a reason why I will go for certain brand and not go for some other brand. Okay, so it's a very simple analogy. It's as good as dating. This example, keep it in your head. Branding is the reason the girl went on the first date with me, because she found a solid reason to go on a date. So it could be my way of thinking, my conversations, my personality, the thoughts that I share, the commonalities that we have, some kind of correlation that I could build, situational and contextual correlations. What I mean by correlations, there could have been something that enabled the first date. Okay, now that something is all about how you brand yourself. And that is why I said branding is building the reason, but marketing is the first transaction, that is enabling the first transaction. I hope you guys, I could make it easier for you to understand what is the difference between branding and marketing. If you have got this straight, just put a yes in the chat box. I'll get a confirmation so that I can move ahead. So the bridge here, when it comes to branding, is very simple. As a business, as a product, as a service, or probably as a brand, do you understand your customers' needs? How are you engaging them? what is on offer, and how all of this is being communicated. Okay, now when I say communicated, it's not the words, it's about everything. It's about presence, visuals, the mood, the content, everything. And then comes the conversion. So always remember this bridge. The customer always travels a bridge from one end to the other, where the decision of buying or decision of engaging with a particular brand starts from how well my need is identified by that particular brand. So need, engage, offer. So there has to be some offer that would be appealing to me as a consumer. It has to be communicated to me in the right way, and hence the conversion or the transaction could happen through a marketing tool. Okay, that's the bridge that you should remember. A lot of people also ask me, does the brand have some kind of a shape? And now I'm going to tell you, yes, it does have a shape. And this is the same shape which we have taught in management school. And you can relate to this. It is of the iceberg. Now, I know you've used this term that sales is the tip of the iceberg. What lies beneath is marketing. Let's also look at branding or brand as the iceberg. Okay, what you see above the surface. Now, what I have defined this into two levels: above the surface, below the surface. What you see above the surface, it is the elements that you can actually look, see, feel, or experience. Now, this is the actual thing that comes to the consumer. Something like communication, logo, identity, colors, themes, the images or imagery that happens in the background, or the mere presence of that particular brand. Okay, the brand is not interacting with you directly, but it is the overall presence that happens. Okay, so this is what you see most of the times. People confuse that this is what is branding. Branding is, okay, getting the visuals right, attractive, impactful, and that's how people will get attracted towards a particular brand or a business. But let me tell you guys, branding, or the below the surface part, is the most important part when it comes to understanding the anatomy of a brand. And that's where you see the strategy, which is not generally seen uh, by everyone except the management, the leadership, or the business owner or the entrepreneur. And here's where the key part comes into picture, uh, about brand purpose strategy, which is by creating the brand substance. What is the brand substance? The unique value proposition. People say unique selling proposition, but I like to call it value, because what is the value that your consumers or your target audience is going to get from you is very important. The third part is differentiation. As in the exercise, we realize that if we are the same, no, there's no reason for someone to buy me if I look the same like others. The scenery part of it. So what's the differentiation of a brand? How do you create a differentiation? That's the most important part, which is decided in the strategic area, wherein you need to stand out. You need to be not blending in the competition. You need to stand out of the competition. Then the positioning part. Now, what is the position that any brand makes in the target audience's head? And I can give you a very simple example. If I say the word Mercedes, I for surely know that the first three words that will come in your head is luxury, quality, safety, class, German build. These are the first 3 to 4 words that will come in your mind. Am I right here, guys? Just give me a yes or a no. If it's no, it's fine. You can say no also. All right, all right. So when I say Mercedes, that was the first 3 or 4 words that come. Now, if you are working on your business, if you are working on a brand, tell me what, or rather think about what are the first 3 to 4 words that someone should think when it comes to your brand name. What is it? If you think for yourself, no need to put it on the chat box, but think for yourself. If you are building a business, how are you going to create a different place for your brand in your target audience's head, wherein there might be different layers, because Mercedes is not just one thing. There are different layers of different elements which form that one great idea in your mind when you say Mercedes. At the same time, when you say Maruti Suzuki, there is a different idea of that brand that comes into your head. While Maruti and Mercedes are, kind of at the end of things, but if I say Skoda or if I say Hyundai, they still take a different place in your head. And this is the magic of the positioning framework or the positioning strategy where the brand is applying. And all these things help define a personality, a personality which starts communicating with the target audience or the right target audience that you want to connect with. For example, if you want to become Amitabh Bachchan, you need to incorporate all those elements of personality, okay, to start communicating the same kind of things to the target audience who relate to Amitabh Bachchan. But if you feel, no, I don't, my brand doesn't need to become that, my brand needs to become someone else, then of course your audience will be different. And that same personality has to then start talking to your audience, because people like connecting with people. And today, when we talk about branding and innovation, the first thing that is taught is humanizing your brand. How can you humanize your brand so that it starts connecting, relating, conversing, so conversations, and then building relationships, building a tribe. So I'm going to come to the latest trends that are there in post 2021. I'll come that later, but these are the points which you need to be, and this is the anatomy of the brand. So I hope it's clear. Let's do a small exercise, guys. Let's do a very small exercise. Okay, I know now this is going to be tricky. I want you to be using the chat box. Akshita says, so how do you define the personality of brands like Ferrari and Rolls Royce? Amazing question. Okay, so see, in branding, what happens is there are 12 types of personality. Now this is scientifically done. Okay, these are called brand archetypes. And under those 12 archetypes, Rolls-Royce and Ferrari fits into a particular or probably a mix of two personalities in that. Now we are not going to cover that in detail in this session, but every brand you can kind of qualify it into a particular personality using those 12 brand archetypes. So if you have time, go ahead, Google and check for brand archetypes, and you will come to know what are the 12 different types of personalities, where you can also build a brand for yourself and also check other brands what personalities that they fall into. I hope that was helpful. But let's do a small thing. Okay, let's take a breather now. Guess this, something is going to come in front of you. Okay, you need to tell me, what is this brand all about? What does the business sell? Okay, what does the business sell? Now you can use the chat box and you can put in your answers. What do you think that this business sells? Okay, guys, let me tell you that this was one of my clients from 5 years back, and so we worked on their branding and rebranding part of it. So something to do with music. Okay, so someone says speakers and a question mark. Aqua product, musical instrument. Okay, music. That's it. No one else. Interesting answers. Perfumes. Someone said perfumes. Accessories, music accessories. Someone says aqua product. Someone says systems, music accessories, music production. Awesome. Someone says production. Awesome. Very nice. Great. So what happened is this brand gave too many, it was giving too many indications. So someone said music, someone said aqua products, someone said accessories, someone said production house, instruments, musical instruments. So the identity or the entire brand was giving too many indications, which was not kind of fixated. What does the brand do? What happened was, I think now you'll be able to look at what was next. From whatever it was before, we converted into this. So this brand is into car audio manufacturing products. So they're into audio products which are related to car, home, as well as live, which you see on live shows. So everything is related to that. Now, look at the previous identity, look at this identity. I know that there is a starking difference between both of them. We've incorporated their complete speciality, which was into connecting the entire system. So installation cables was their specialty. Speaker sound was one of them, and B was for the box or the bass that it created through acoustic and their enclosure. So we kind of got all of it into their identity part, and you could see the final logo coming out. Now, again, here, what you are seeing is the visuals, the anything that is going to be talking to you directly. Okay, the top part of the iceberg. So this was reflected further in their packaging, their events, and other things where they should merchandise and websites and signages and everywhere, the magazine ads. It got reflected out there. But let me tell you that it was not an outside in job. Branding is never started from outside, never it starts from design first. It's an inside out job. So it starts with discovery and not with design. And this is where it started off with. We kind of, there's a scientific way to do it. And there's a lot of questions that go behind. There's a lot of discovery process that happens. And this is where the outcome comes. So everything in terms of strategy, the lower half of the below the surface part of the iceberg, strategy, purpose, substance, USP, UVP, positioning, personality. Now, if you go to any of the car retail showrooms and see a JBL or a Pioneer or anything else, this brand sitting besides it on the shelf looks like, okay, it's one of the competition out there. It looks global, it looks international. Now, if I took the first identity, first part of it, and the same box, you would find it in the car showroom next to JBL or Sony or Pioneer, you might think 10 times before even looking at it, right? Because that's where you're creating an image, a perception of what that brand could be. So the colors, so the design identity, the typography, everything has come out of the strategic view and not the visual view. I hope that was clear. Put a yes in the chat box. If you have any questions, you can throw it out there, and or else I can go forward. Yes. Okay, great. So while we started off with something called as purpose branding, okay, I wanted to share a small video also with you. But before that, before I share the video, I want to tell you guys that I am sure everyone knows Philip Kotler, right? Everyone knows Philip Kotler here? Yes? Yes or no? Everyone knows Philip Kotler here? Yes. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Father of modern marketing, Philip Kotler said that if you are not a brand, then you are merely a commodity. Yeah, someone says God of marketing. Okay. Awesome. So if you're not a brand, you are merely a commodity. That's what he said. And the only negotiation or the only negotiator that stays with you is the price. It is the price, not the value. So if you are in the process of building a brand, then try and create a value exchange and do not just make it a mere commodity. All right. On this note, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to share another screen with you guys so that I can show you something, a small video where you'll understand a little, a little better. And once you see that video, you can come back and we can get back to your questions. Okay. So this is the video I'm playing. I hope everyone can see it. Okay. Let me stop sharing again. I'll start sharing it one more time so that I also play the sound, because I need to share the sound. All right. I hope everyone can see it. Give me a yes or give me a thumbs up on the chat box.
Sir. Yes, we can see.
Okay, great. Sure that one of the objective in this entire process will definitely be increasing revenues. When revenues grow, business grows, right? So I'm sure sales is going to be the priority number one for your business or your services or products, whatsoever it is. But though sales is the priority, what I feel is sales is not a function of input. Sales is outcome. Okay, listen to me carefully. It is the other factors that lead to sales, that make happen the sales that we are looking out for. Now, if those other factors and components, if they are done right, then sales becomes an easier mechanism. So the question that every entrepreneur should ask yourself is not that how do I increase my sales, what do I do for more sales. No, that's not the question. The right question to ask is how do I make sales easier for me or for the team that is already working out there in the market, whether on field or work from home or however, online, offline, all formats. How am I going to make sales easier? Okay, keep this in mind. Now, to also tell you something on that lines, I've kind of come up with a 3-part mechanism which needs alignment. Okay, which needs alignment, and those 3 parts are branding, marketing, and sales. Now, I'm not going to talk about wider concepts, but I'm going to take a small concept from each one of them, and I'm going to link that. Okay, now when I look at branding, branding means you ask yourself whether my product, my service, my brand is grabbing attention of the right audience or not. Am I doing the efforts, or am I doing those functional aspects where I can grab attention of my target audience and grab attention in the right way? Okay, that's the first part. Now, if you're not getting attention, then if you're not, like for example, if you're not seen, then the chances of people thinking of buying you is also not going to happen. So you are immediately cutting off the first and most important part. If you're not seen, you're not going to be sold. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. Okay, so the first component of branding is about whether you are seen and whether you're grabbing their eyeballs for the right things. Now, even if you do, now most of them would say, I post every day, I do a lot of digital marketing, I have a graphic post going every time, I have a good website and this and that, I'm coming up with schemes and stuff like that. But my second alignment, so second block of marketing where the alignment is required, is asking yourself if as an entrepreneur you are grabbing the attention and whether you are addressing the problem or the need of today for that target audience. Okay, now why I said marketing comes into picture is because are you making an offer, are you making that irresistible offer for them to first get attention and then realize that this is what I need and this is what probably is going to solve my problem, or it is something that it is going to make things convenient for me or easier for me, and you start building up a perception that yes, this is what I am wanting to get for myself. Okay, so the first part is grabbing attention. If you're not seen, you're not going to be sold. Second part is if you're seen, is it worth seeing or is it worth thinking about? So is there an offer, is there something that you've addressed their need, okay, or the problem that they are currently into, which makes it much easier for anyone to probably make a choice. So now you created a scenario where they're looking at you and probably thinking of buying you, and then a scenario where they might be also looking at their problem, their need, and then connecting your brand or your product or service to that need. Okay, so the second part is marketing, that's the offer. And the third part, which I said, was sales. Now when I say sales, it's not about the selling function as such. I am taking that away and I'm going to say it's all about timing. Okay, timing. And there are two aspects of timing to this topic. Now one aspect is you grabbed the attention, you made a very good offer, you created the need, or you kind of addressed the need, and the third alignment is it the right timing to be offered? Are you entering at the right time? Ask yourself that. Or are you way ahead of time, or you just kind of are late while giving or making that offer and other people are also doing it? So one aspect is check your timing. Are you entering or are you communicating some things at the right time? Is it a good timing for your product or your service? And the second part of timing is, even if it is a good time to enter, even if it is like the time where people need this, are you available easily? Are you accessible easily? So ask yourself that, am I my business, my product, my service, is it available easily? Is it available, like I've done things right, so I've grabbed the attention, I've, with the right purpose in head, I have probably made a good offer because I understood their need, and I'm kind of relating to, helping them relate to me. And then while connecting these things, is it available? Is it an easier buy? Is it easy for me to access it or to get access? Maybe if it's a product, is it available in my kirana shop or my retailers? If it's a service, is it available in a digital format? Is it available online? Okay, so look at how these three components come together, and think about it. Think about how you are not just going to do some things to increase sales. No, don't have that question in your head, but think about how am I going to make sales easier for me, my team, and my business. If you think that way, I am sure that you're going to hit the right note of aligning and connecting these three components to then eventually make sales or make revenue. I hope you are getting the connection out here, and so guys, I hope you got the connection out there. Just give me a yes in the chat box if you could listen to it very clearly and understood why purpose branding or why purpose is so important to even align all those things together. Because everyone in business wants the outcome, the results, at the revenue. But if you do not make things easier for your business and your brand, and when I say now branding, now this the word brand as a first block is a blanket kind of a function which will come all the time. It is the DNA of your business. It is something that is going to be perceived as an image, as a character, as a personality, as something that as a value by your target audience. And all the things have to be aligned, so you just cannot do one thing. It has to have a strong purpose, a strong strategic view for getting the desired results. So I hope guys you have understood things from here. You can start posting questions if you wish to, and I'll be happy to answer them. There are around 154 participants, and I'm expecting some good questions right now. So Amay, you can just maybe open for the question answer round.
Hi, sir. Saga here. Just one question from mine means like we have startup entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs here. So many of the time they get confused or they have some question. Should they go for monetizing or branding first and then monetize the startup or product, or they make some good traction and then build up a brand? So as I earlier mentioned, what comes first, branding or innovation? So it's like what like it is means what you will suggest, how to do they go for first branding the startup and then go for more transaction or traction in the market, or how it will come?
Okay, so definitely, if you like, for example, if I have to introduce myself,
Yeah,
right, there has to be something that is basic, where I need to work on what identity am I presenting out
yeah,
there in the market. Now, uh, it may or may not be the best or the ideal way of putting it forward, but if it's done intelligently, if it's done the right way, if the foundation of things are laid very strong, then I'm sure that the perceived value of your audience is going to be is what you want them to understand of you.
yeah,
So like you said, like when I say alignment and connection, if I give you a simple example, if I have a good product, okay, if I have a good service, but I'm not able to grab eyeballs, not able to grab attention. So again, it's not working for me, right?
Yeah.
If I have a good branding team who is doing a good part on their design and everything, and if my offer is not going to help anyone,
Yeah.
it still is a failure. So what I always believe, and I always tell my fellow entrepreneurs is, when you want to position yourself, or when you want to put yourself in the market, try and work around the problem that you're solving. Okay, now what happens is, the fancy words, the visuals, and all these things can come. Okay, but what is to be identified is, how does someone relate to my business and my brand immediately? Okay, so you create relatability by talking or by positioning it as a problem solver, or something that, that's the need of the hour.
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you a very simple example. um, I just happened to get my mom's cataract surgery done. Okay, so I want to share it with everyone. And there was this guy who was representing a brand out there, and what the brand is doing now is, they are helping patients get a discount on the surgery costs. Okay, any kind of surgery. So whether it's a cataract, heart, any kind of surgery, this brand from Bangalore, it's called Medfin. They come as a mediator between the hospitals and the patients, and they help you reduce your surgery cost by giving you 4 hospital options. How amazing as a concept it is, right? So now what is happening is, that brand is basically identified a problem that a common man cannot negotiate that much with the hospital authorities. These guys probably have some tricks, and they do understand the gimmicks, and they, on behalf of the patient or the family, is going to get more discounts on whatever they have quoted you. Now tell me, Sagar, where would you like to go, the hospital directly or this brand, at least
Brand.
once?
Brand.
Right. So I never knew about this, but what happened was, while I'm sure while they were doing all these things, I started recommending them to others. And I told them, I told my friends, my family, if you're going for any kind of surgery, just connect with this brand and see if you can get some kind of discounts. Or because, see, I don't understand how to negotiate with doctors and hospital authorities. आपको पता है कि हमको जो बोल दिया वो हम करते हैं वहाँ पे. So you don't have any control. But if these guys are giving me a 10-15% discount on whatever I have negotiated on top of it, it's a winner for me, right? Now, what happened here is the problem. So there was some general problem that was identified, and the brand was created around that problem. So whether they now get some funding, if they get traction, they're definitely going to get the traction. They're definitely going to get the eyeballs of the investors. And if this is a major problem that they're solving for a mass of audience, and you might know that what's the journey of the brand.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So and I just try to put something out here, Sagar, for the attendees also, like trends post COVID 2021. So this is where I wanted to put this a small understanding of how things are changing, how innovation is as a part of branding, how it impacts the decisions in the business. So today, every brand, if you observe, is taking a stand. It's taking a stand for something, and you will see this happening very, very often now, that they would relate to some community, they would relate to some problem, they would a social cause, and they'll take a stand for that. That's how they're starting to build relationships and commonalities between the tribe, and they're telling them that we are one of you. So that's the humanization part of it. Okay, brands are building conversations, more engagement, more conversion. Simple logic. They are now creating tribes. They want communities now. They want thriving communities who are a part of that, who associate with the brand, maybe with some kind of a feeling, mood, cause, purpose. And that's where you're saying that let's create brand communities. Purpose being the oxygen all the time. There is no other way that you do 10,000 designs, but one purpose can is the real oxygen behind all whatever you see visually. Brands are going to be very agile. They're going to be experiential. Now experiential is very simple. now everyone wants to provide some kind of experience to their target audience, and whether it's an in-store experience, whether it's a mobile experience, some experience that they will create, and it will create a fusion of digital and physical. So phygital is something which is trending right now, if you guys are aware. Phygital, so physical and digital. So some you can get some experience on physical avenues and the rest of it on the digital avenues. Localization, a lot of you'll see a lot of use of local language, whether it's internally in India or abroad. You'll see a lot of localization happening, whether it is about language, about the product customization, about tweaking it to the local needs. And the most important part, which you are already seeing a lot, it is about how the brands are telling stories, because stories are something that we connect to very soon, and that is what is the essence of brand building. And that's the first thing that you'll remember a story right from your childhood also. So all the brands are now heading towards massive storytelling exercises so that they could connect to the brand. And guys, if you are looking to build, do you want to create this? Say yes in the chat box if you want to create an awesome brand for yourself, for the place you work, or for the business that you're building. Just put a yes, like a big yes on the chat box, saying that yes, we want to create an awesome brand. I'm going to decode this word awesome for you. Make your notes, take that down on your notepad. Okay, very simple. A stands for make your brand aimful towards being adored by the audience. Your brand should aim towards becoming an adored brand by the audience. Now when I say adored, it has to be loved, and there has to be a very strong reason of why someone would love your business or your brand. Okay, whether it's your internal stakeholders or your customers, everyone. Okay, so it has to be adored by your audience. W, it should be worthwhile for your target to look at. Like Sagar said, whether whether should go branding first or traction first. Now I would say just make it worthwhile for your target audience, whoever your target is. So if your target is the investors, make it worthwhile for them to look at you. Or if it's your consumers, make it really really worthwhile for them to look at you. Try and create engagement, guys. So make your brands engaging, because that is the bridge. We understood what's the bridge. That's the bridge towards having those transactions, those conversions. Okay, and yes, I'm sure this is where everyone is now thinking how I could build a sensitive brand who understands the needs of my target audience. As I said, a problem or any gap or an opportunity that you're looking at, where you can be the person or the brand to solve it or provide some solutions. Be sensitive to your audience's needs. Be original, guys. Your personality or your brand personality is unique. Create it with its own essence. Don't emulate, don't copy, do not go in a sheep kind of a manner, or don't become one of someone else. Don't become one of someone else, because competition is so much that you'll just blend in. And the purpose of branding is to stand out. Make your brand marketable. So you do all the hard work, and if it's not marketable, your transaction is not going to happen. I hope this is answering your question, Sagar, also, because I'm sure a lot of other guys are also asking this in their mind. They must be thinking about this. What do I do first? Anda pehle ya murgi pehle? Pehle kya karna hai? Make it marketable, guys. It has to be marketable. Not only, even if you have 5 employees with you, do they really own the brand? Do they feel the ownership of brand? Okay. If no, that means it's not a marketable one. If internal guys are not owning it, then how would external guys own? And E is make it ensuring that you are here to create long-term trusted relations and not just a transaction or an event. So if you are out there to ensure, guys, that you are going to stay and you're trusted, guys, then just look at this. If you put it all together, it becomes an awesome brand. I hope you guys have taken those notes, and I hope it will help you guys going further. Thank you all for joining in today, and I'm still open to take questions. You can either post it on the chat box, or you can probably the panelists would, someone would unmute you and you can ask it right away. Yes, I'm on for questions. Guys, you've been very participative in your yeses and nos, and I'm sure that if you're out there building a business or a brand, there must be certain questions. Don't shy of asking. Don't feel shy, because there's nothing wrong or right here. It's just a perspective. Anyone from the panelists want to ask me, or anyone from the attendees can probably type a question, and we will be happy, or I will be happy to answer it for you guys. Do you
Okay, I
have
have
any
a
questions?
question, sir. Say, for example, when a startup goes for a brand, what is the right time for it to go for an IP for that brand? When is it the right time to convert that brand into an IP?
So for anything to convert into an IP, I think there has to be some kind of unique, kind of uniqueness around it, right? Now, uh, for example, if you have probably luckily got an awesome, kind of a name, or you've got some an awesome concept behind something, then you can definitely run for it. But again, it involves a lot of research in terms of what else exists out there in the market. When you say IP, anything could be an IP. If I trademark my logo, it is an
Yeah,
IP, right?
correct, right.
So if you are going to be running with that brand, if you know that that is what you're going to, kind of the life cycle of the brand is going to be more than 10 years, or that is what you're going to dedicate yourself to, then definitely go for it. If you feel there is no other one who's giving you that value, and or probably the name itself, I want to lock that name because probably that name was available, and that name has deep meaning with what I do or what my business does, then just run for it, go for it. There is I feel that when I say timing, it would vary, is what there's no like the right time for IP, because again, if you're ready with certain design, if you've done a good job in the initial part of it, if you've invested that much, if you've invested your effort, money, energy all into your brand identity, brand development part of it, then definitely it requires some protection. It
Right.
definitely requires protection. So if you're just doing it as a first design first approach, then it might not seem like a big deal. But if you're invested into building a proper complete brand identity, when I say brand identity, it is not just the logo, it is all the strategy end of it and everything that comes. And I also tell people, don't just name your brand just like that. Do the exercise, do a strategy exercise, and then come to a naming conclusion, so that you know that you're going to stand for it. It's going to have its true essence. And that's where if you're invested, make sure you extend that investment to protecting your brand.
Thank you so much for your answer, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think there is a question here.
There is a question answer box.
Yeah, from ownership to quality to differentiation to loyalty to sustainability and purpose, what will branding next be? Okay, as I said, the first thing that everyone has to do today, even if you're creating a new brand, is to work on how you're going to humanize your brand, how you're going to build conversations, how you're going to build tribes or communities, so that you have a direct audience. So it's going to be how you're making them thrive in your company. Okay, so that is going to be and everything, whatever you've written over here, it is not just going to be that, but it's going to be a combination of everything along with that. So it's not just going to be one thing. I've given different things also, like for example, you're going to go into different kind of experiential branding. uh, have you heard about sonic branding? Anyone has heard about sonic branding? Anyone has heard about sonic branding? Yes, no? Yes, no? Sonic branding. Now, if you've not heard about it, I would say that go and search about it. Now, this is again you need to, when you research more and more, you'll find out there are different ways of doing things. And sonic branding is to do with sound and how you can associate a particular sound to a particular brand. So I understand that if you've not read about it or heard about it, there are different things to be done. But as far as I've already given you the trend, I've already shared with you what's going to happen, and what's happening right away is about thriving communities. You have to build thriving communities who vouch for you, who vouch for the brand. They don't have that. That's how loyalty and long lasting relationships will be even sustained further. I hope Rutu Gujarati, you've got your answer. If you know, you can ask me again. Someone says, is it difficult to build a brand image persona for a business that is already well established? Okay, if the brand is already well established, that means they have already worked on their brand image or persona per se. But there are times when with a change of time, they want to repurpose themselves, rebrand themselves, and also kind of restructure the entire brand internally and externally. Now a very simple example to share with you is, if you have seen the complete brand overhaul of Kia Motors. Okay, if you've not seen it, I would suggest you go and see a 20-minute video on YouTube on Kia Motors, a very well established brand, but 2020 they kind of rebranded themselves. And that rebranding exercise was not just the logo part of it. So if you see the Kia logo changed right now, it's not just that. Just go back, watch the video, and you will understand to what depth and what extent they go and question, and how they do the exercise when it comes to rebranding and repurposing their vision and their way forward. So anywhere the brand stands, whether it's a 50,000 rupee brand or a 50 crore rupee brand, the only thing, that same question that every brand is asking is, what next? Where do I go from here? Right? And that's when established brands also require repurposing, re-strategizing, and rebranding exercises. So if you get a chance, all of you guys go and check out Kia Motors. If you can see their entire 20-minute video, it's an awesome video to look at. It's an awesome case study also. You can understand a lot about how branding is done. How to build a team to go forward with a startup. Okay, this is like a typical startup question, and there are so many factors on building a team. uh, I don't know whether I'd like to understand what kind of startup you have, what industry you're competing in, and the nature of the product or the service to really help you out with going up on building a team. But if you feel that, as an expert or an expertise, if you need some solid expertise right with you right from the beginning, then there are different ways of creating some kind of stakeholding options, shareholding options, partnerships, or even probably outsourcing certain things, or probably hiring certain employees with you. So if you are the main person out there and things are going to be done at your end, you don't need a partner or a co-founder, then definitely you can start having people who can work for you. If not, you can outsource certain things to them. But there is I cannot just answer this question just like that, because I'll have to understand the nature of your startup also. Any other questions, guys?
Hi, good evening. This is Dr. Vaishali. You are able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
See, my question is related to the personal branding and the celebrity endorsement, and we are just experiencing there are so many celebrities are carrying or a brand ambassador of the so-called big brands, and because of there some personal or a social, issues, the brand is unnecessary. The brands are suffering. So how this happens, and how should people believe in that particular personal person or a celebrity or anyone?
Okay. So It's a complicated question, and also it's a question where nowadays people understand that any celebrity or any endorser is being paid to do that. So that kind of awareness is already there with the audience. That surely, if any celebrity is endorsing something, it is matched with that personality, of course. Because if you see MS Dhoni, he will only endorse certain kind of brands, and he will not endorse a particular brands. Same goes with Virat Kohli. Same goes with some other celebrity who's in the entertainment sector. So they are trying to, what they do is, brands typically try to match personalities, saying that we are those kind of personalities. So when a brand, when an audience, or when a consumer is trying to relate, अरे ये brand का personality क्या है, immediate correlation will go to the endorser or the celebrity. Oh, so that means the brand is trusted or funny or caregiving or a serious brand. So it all depends on what kind of celebrities or endorsers are signed up for this. But as a matter of fact, every consumer today knows that if they see any celebrities, it doesn't mean, and people also know that they might even not use those products. Okay, but probably their personality matches to the brand's persona as far as it's concerned, and the celebrities are trying to show that to their tribes. So if I follow a particular celebrity and he's endorsing something, so my personality and his personality is matching, the brand's personality is matching with me, and I take a decision. Now after I use it, or if there is some other problem or some other issues that are going on, if some controversy happens with the celebrity, the brand of course pulls out from that deal, or probably kind of suspends the ads which are going on, suspends the visual promotions that are happening. And then it's a matter of probably kind of having someone else coming in, or probably just going low profile. Most of the times they switch to another person, or they kind of go low profile for some time. But of course, brands get affected with that. I mean, if you ask me, or from the brand perspective, it definitely gets affected. A simple example, right now also you must have seen the latest case of Raj Kundra and Shilpa Shetty. Shilpa Shetty brand is getting affected. Her deals are getting affected. People who follow her are also kind of reacting to what has happened right now. So some things are not in control, some things are in control. But as a business, definitely, whom to choose, why am I asking the celebrity to do it, or what is the correlation of my brand persona with that celebrity's persona, and my audience, are there a similar kind of audience that I'm trying to target? So that is where the correlation is. It's a win-win or a match. Then endorsements are going to happen still. I hope I could.
Yeah. Thank you so much. One more just linked question, like when we are looking at the social personal brands, like we look at Anna Hazare, we look at Ramdev Baba, we look at some sadhus and all that. They publish a brand, they have their own personal branding only for the publicity, or they look for some long-term gain behind that?
Of course,
I'm talking about the social personalities.
I understand. So even I'll break it down to even my example. Okay, let's see Baba Ramdev, and everyone has a good. So if I'm a brand, if Dr. Vaishali Patil is a brand, okay, let's consider that. Because I always believe that if you have a name, you are a brand. If you are not being a brand, then don't be a commodity also, because then you're. So if I have to position myself differently and I'm going to be that professionally, I'm going to be living up to it, I'm going to fulfill my promise, I have to put myself in a different manner in front of my audience, right? So how do I position myself? I position simply by saying that I'm a purpose driven brand strategist. Now this is something which is not just a line that has come up. It has come up with a lot of exercise, a lot of discovery, a lot of doing things, a lot of results which I have given to my clients. Now everything kind of rolls up together and becomes my positioning in the market. Similar way, I'm sure when Baba Ramdev started. Now, if you look at Baba Ramdev as an example, also, if you look at his focus, his focus is yoga. If you look at his focus is yoga. His focus is Swadeshi. His focus is health. So now if he's living that, he is going to live it for his own entire life. He's going to endorse health. He's going to endorse yoga. He's going to endorse Swadeshi as a feeling. These things, this is what is making Baba Ramdev, right? If he's making people healthy, he is going to keep doing, and that's how people will follow, people will relate, people will use the products, people will, kind of build on that, and that's how the tribe is built. And that's the reason you would see Baba Ramdev has so many followers, or probably any sadhu or sadguru for that matter. His positioning is very different. Now, I'm not going to go in detail about both of them, but I'm just giving you a simple breakdown of things. So, positioning yourself is not a short-term game; it's a long-term game.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
With the rise of social media marketing, how important it is to maintain our own brand different on social media platforms. So much of crowd, right, on social media platforms. So much of crowd. You know, I did naye brand, I did naye brand. But you have to be understanding one thing also is that even though there are so much of competition, you would still have that sweet spot where the kind of audience that you are looking for will definitely follow you, and that all depends on how good are you building your niche in your segment, the niche in your industry, or the niche of your community for that matter. So if you can identify that sweet spot, that niche of your segment, and keep building on it and keep fulfilling your promise, I'm sure it will still stand out, and you will have your own set of followers, your own set of community and audience. So of course it is the rise of social media. I think COVID, in these 2 years, it's only social media, it's only digital, and hence it is important to maintain your brand on different social media platforms. So whatever, there must be a lot of crowd, but you have to be there, you have to stand out, and it is as important as you would do the offline campaign. So I hope that answers your question. So I think any last question, or else we can then probably like a kind of take a sign off call here. Sagar, you can check
Sagar,
if
we can conclude now.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Just before concluding, let me introduce Vaishali Patil, ma'am. Due to some technical problems, she just joined late. But ma'am is the senior associate dean, and she is leading the IIC. She is a convener of IIC, and she takes many initiatives with respect to innovation, research, and all. So, ma'am, thank you for joining. We also have the panelist Archana Ghatul, ma'am. So she is working with director's office and always helpful, and is one of the key person to hold this session. So thank you everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Piyush, sir, for giving such awesome knowledgeful session with a compact series kind of thing. And we would surely like to have your session in person, where we can have the live workshop kind of model,
right,
where we have much more interactions, and the psychic which we can have and we can develop together. That will be a very good one. And
I miss offline workshops so much. You don't
yes,
know.
yes.
I'm a kind of person, I send people out of classroom, and that is where this small window doesn't help me. I try my best, but I'm so thankful for all the panelists to have me here
Yes.
with you guys. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Thank you, the attendees, also for listening to me patiently, and whoever participated in the small little experiment that I tried to do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I just
Thank you,
I
Mr.
will
Piyush.
request
We
Vaishali,
enjoyed,
just
the
the
session.
video.
Yeah, very much.
Yes, it was very much interactive. And Vaishali ma'am, Shruti ma'am, please switch on the video so that we can take a screenshot. Am I?
Sagar, I'm attending from the phone and there is some
Okay, okay,
problem.
okay. No, no
I'm
problem. No
sorry
problem.
for that.
So, Amay, you can do the needful for the screen.
Thank you, Amay. Thank you so much for arranging this session.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, see you in person, Mr. Piyush.
Sure, I would love to.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Piyush, sir.
Have a great night ahead.
Yeah.